Europe's great derbies, where football becomes. War football is more than a game in Europe. It's a religion, a declaration of identity, and sometimes a centuries-old grudge disguised in 90 minutes. Across the continent, there are matches that stop nations, divide families, and echo through generations. These are the derbies that define Europe. El Clásico, Real Madrid versus Barcelona. It's not just Spain's biggest game, it's a clash of civilizations. Madrid, the power, the monarchy, the establishment. Barcelona, rebellion, Catalan pride, the voice of resistance. Since 1902, El Clásico has been a stage for icons: Di Stefano, Cruyff, Zidane, Messi, Ronaldo. From the political tension of the Franco era to Messi's shirt salute at the Bernabeu, the rivalry burns beyond sport. Real Madrid lead the series, but Barca's Manita in 2010 remains one of football's masterpieces. Beauty as defiance. Derby della Madonnina, AC Milan versus Inter. Milan divides itself once a season under the glittering lights of San Siro. It's red versus blue, elegance against ambition, two brothers born of the same city, destined to fight forever. Since 1909, legends like Maldini, Zanetti, and Kaká have danced across that sacred pitch. The noise is thunder, the banners biblical. In 2023, Inter sent Milan home in the Champions League semi-final. History repeating itself, heartbreak renewed. The old firm, Celtic versus Rangers. In Glasgow, football is faith. Celtic, the Irish Catholic soul of the city. Rangers, the Protestant heart. Every pass carries a century of tension, every goal a political statement. Since 1888, the old firm has transcended sport. It's tribal, spiritual, sometimes dangerous. They've met over 400 times, Rangers holding a narrow edge, but the real battle is for the city's soul. When Celtic Park and Ibrox roar, Scotland itself trembles. Der Klassiker, Bayern Munich versus Borussia Dortmund, not a city rivalry, but a clash of empires, money versus defiance, dominance versus resistance. Since the 1990s, Der Klassiker has defined German football. 2013, Wembley, Bayern broke Dortmund hearts in the Champions League final. Even in defeat, Dortmund's yellow wall stood tall, reminding everyone, this is not just Bayern's world. Intercontinental derby, Galatasaray versus Fenerbahce, two continents, one city, and a divide that feels eternal. Istanbul comes to a standstill when red and yellow meet navy blue and gold. It's Europe versus Asia, pride versus pride. In 1996, Graham Souness planted the Galatasaray flag in Fenerbahce's ground, an act of defiance that became immortal. No derby on earth burns quite like this one. Flares, chaos, devotion. Here, football isn't watched, it's felt. Le Classique, Paris Saint-Germain versus Marseille. Paris, the capital of glamour, and Marseille, the port of rebellion. One represents the crown, the other, the street. When PSG and OM collide, France divides. Since the 1990s, it's been more than football. It's a cultural war. Flares ignite, banners rise, and history remembers the days when Marseille ruled before Paris bought the world. Derby della Capitale, Roma versus Lazio. Rome doesn't play football, it erupts. The Derby della Capitale is raw, chaotic, and emotional. Born in 1929, it's a contest for pride and dominance in Italy's eternal city. Francesco Totti kissing the badge, taking a selfie in front of the Curva Sud, a symbol of love and loyalty. The Colosseum has been silent for centuries, but on Derby Day, it roars again. Seville Derby, Sevilla versus Real Betis. Andalusia's streets turn into a carnival of color and chaos when these two meet. It's not about trophies, it's about the city's heartbeat. In 2018, Betis silenced the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan with a 5-3 victory, a scoreline sung like a ballad by their fans for years. Revier Derby, Borussia Dortmund versus Schalke 04. The Ruhr Derby, born from coal, sweat, and steel. Two working-class clubs, two identities forged in industry. Once Schalke ruled, now Dortmund stands taller. But when they meet, history doesn't matter. 2017, Dortmund led 4-0, Schalke fought back to 4-4. It wasn't just a comeback, it was a declaration. Pride never dies. O Clásico, Benfica versus Porto. Lisbon versus the North. Benfica, the capital's club of light and history. Porto, the proud challenger of the people. Since 1931, they've battled for Portugal's throne. Porto's 5-0 demolition in 2010 still echoes in the Estadio da Luz, a reminder that arrogance is dangerous in this rivalry. Derby of the eternal enemies, Olympiacos versus Panathinaikos. In Athens, red meets green and the world stops spinning. The Derby of the Eternal Enemies is as fierce as its name suggests. Flares, riots, passion that teeters on madness. Olympiacos dominate the titles, but Panathinaikos fans wear every scar with pride. It's not about victory, it's about defiance. De Klassieker, Ajax versus Feyenoord, Amsterdam's artistry against Rotterdam's working-class pride. When these two clash, it's a cultural collision, creative versus industrial, swagger versus steel. The rivalry runs deep, from European glory in the 70s to fiery modern clashes. In 2023, flares rained down and the match was abandoned, proof that even now, Dutch calm has its breaking point. Manchester Derby, Manchester United versus Manchester City. Once, it was Big Brother versus the noisy neighbors. Now, it's a battle of dynasties. Since 1881, red has ruled, but in the Guardiola era, blue burns brighter. 2011, City's 6-1 destruction at Old Trafford, Balotelli's "Why Always Me" became legend. A rivalry reborn, a city divided anew. North London Derby, Arsenal versus Tottenham. You can feel it in every pub and playground in North London. Arsenal, the historic power. Spurs, the perennial dreamers. Every derby is a battle for pride, and often humiliation. 2004, Arsenal sealed their invincible title at White Hart Lane. Even Tottenham fans remember it, not with hate, but with fire. Merseyside Derby, Liverpool versus Everton. They call it the friendly derby, but the red cards tell another story. Born from a family split in 1892, Liverpool and Everton share a city, but not a heart. Every tackle carries history. Every roar echoes through Anfield and Goodison alike. It's a rivalry of respect and resentment. In the end, each of these derbies is more than football. They are mirrors of culture, class, faith, and pride. A reminder that in Europe, the game is never just a game. It's identity, it's memory, it's war.